Hi, and welcome to another Facebook Friday at Jones & Associates Law PC. I'm Jackie Jones.
I'm Connor Wigington.
And we are here to talk today about bail. Bail is a great issue. Usually in the beginning of this, we laugh and joke a lot about because it's Friday and we think of all the things we've had to do this week. And we've been in several counties this week, haven't we?
Oh my God, what a day. You want to talk about just one day in court?
One day. If I had one wish, it would be that I can have lunch at a regular time and not.
That's
I was in court.
happen.
I think at one point I looked over at one of the other attorneys. There were so many attorneys in this room, and I was like, "I'm hungry, okay? Like, stop with the questions." I was like, "Why is he harassing me? Just let me get my questions out."
You were able to have that tomato soup though at what, 3:30?
Oh, the tomato basil bisque was so.
Hit the spot.
It was. I mean, the fact that I'm having this whole tomato basil bisque soup thing is like. Okay, but I'm not going to let me get sidetracked this time because my videos get long with me talking about relevant things. But real quick, what do you think of the hair?
The hair. Can we all agree how on point?
This is temporary hair, but
Pops.
Connor loves an ombre, right, Connor?
It pops.
It pops.
It pops.
I feel like Rihanna or someone. I mean, I don't
Better
know.
than Rihanna, Jackie. Better than Rihanna. And you can dance better than Rihanna.
My kids would be so embarrassed right now. This is why I do it. So let's talk bail. It's really, really important because we all understand how the system goes. And there are a lot of people talking about cash bail and, whether that's a good or a bad thing, how that is in some ways bad for communities. That is a really big issue a lot of progressives are talking about. And now, not just progressives, on both sides of the aisle, people are talking about how bail really impacts the criminal justice system. Meaning, if you can't get bailed out, you are more likely to plead guilty because you just want to get out of jail.
And that is a sad reality.
Yeah.
But what is bail? What is the concept of bail? Or more importantly, what is it supposed to be?
Hey, Rashida. Rashida's a great person. I almost should bring her on screen because she works with young people in the juvenile justice system, so she understands this.
There we
The
go.
point of bail is, one, to ensure that you come to court. That's it. That's its basic function. It's not a punishment. It's not to keep you in jail. Actually, the jail, if there's going to be jail or punishment, is supposed to happen after you've been convicted. So bail is meant specifically to ensure that you come to court. And then they look at some factors like your ties to the community, whether this is enough to ensure your performance, whether you have work or children or family, or what are the things that will ensure that you will show up. And one of them is having counsel. Many times they go, well, I see you've hired a lawyer. We're not that cheap. So it's not like you give us $5 in magic beans. So when you cut out the money to have attorneys, it's usually because you plan to come to court and at least participate, if not fight your case.
Exactly.
So I guess the thing is that Connor is our bail specialist, and I'm going to just tell you about how great Connor is. Let's be clear. Connor is a criminal defense attorney like I am, but Connor did do some hard time in the DA's office.
I did.
Which means that he's worked on the dark side.
The city of Chester, Upper Darby.
Right.
And there were a lot of cases.
He's so Delco right now.
I even bought a Delco Irish shirt.
I made him Delco, guys. But, Connor, I guess I say Connor's a specialist because there are a lot of things that I'm doing. We all know that the kind of cases that I'm involved in very intricately. And one of the reasons I hired Connor is because I need someone who is ready to go into court and who has the same passion for arguing that I do. Someone who doesn't just phone it in. Connor will never phone it in.
No.
And so I love that about him. But we have to look at how, we file these motions, and like Connor does a great job with them, and he has been having so much success that I went to a case today and I said to the client, is it okay that I'm here? I know you talked to Connor.
But everything worked out.
It did. But, Connor, I guess it's you go in there and we make an argument for why this bail should be reduced or why someone should be able to go out with maybe a home monitor, electronic home monitoring, or ROR, meaning just on their own recognizance they'll show up. But, Connor, you had some really great insights about bail. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, well, recently...
Stay in the camera frame, Connor. You're adorable. They want to see you.
Luckily, knock on wood, every time that I have argued a bail motion, bail has been reduced or modified for the benefit of the client in some type of way, and I've been very lucky. But honestly, as...
Connor says luck, but it's not just luck, it's skill. And why is it skill? Because we don't make frivolous arguments.
No.
There are times when I tell people, you don't want bail. You were going to jail for 5 years. You want all the time in that you can get. You don't want to have to walk out and then walk back into that prison. So it's skill too, Connor.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you. But honestly, I go in there, I make the argument in front of the master, in front of the judge, and honestly, as an attorney, you don't really know what's going to stick.
Sure.
You don't know what the judge is going to do, and you never really know until you go in there, until the entire motion is argued. But
Yeah.
there's just a couple of things. Even though I've only been practicing for not a very long time, I have argued my fair share of bail motions. We've had very different clientele.
And I should tell you, this is something different that I do at Jones and Associates. I know that a lot of times younger attorneys don't get to argue in court. They spend a lot of time in the desk writing. I don't believe in that. I think that if someone has done the work, if they've done the writing, if they've done the research, that they are one of the best people to argue the motion. I will show up as need be. I will be there to offer support. I will take over when necessary. But you don't let someone who you don't take a horse and say, I'm going to sit you in the stable because you're a foal. No, you put them out there and you have them racing those first couple of years. So
And
Connor's
that's
a
something,
racehorse here.
And that's something that's benefited me, and that's something that Attorney Jones has given me, and I'm very grateful for that, to just work on my skill each and every day. But just going back to bail very quickly, unfortunately, one of the biggest factors that I do see, and it's the elephant in the room, race does play a major role. And there's really no getting around that. And it should be talked about. This should be brought to light.
Talk away. Facebook Live. We are here to hear the truth, Connor. Tell us how race plays a role in bail.
Well, recently, we had somebody who had no criminal record, no criminal background whatsoever, young, full-time job, had a lot of charges. Now, based upon those charges, before we even go to trial, we have an affidavit of probable cause. In the affidavit of probable cause, ideally and theoretically, what that's supposed to do is it is supposed to say exactly what those charges are and how the person committed those charges. Recently, this client who I'm talking about, the affidavit of probable cause was not very strong, would you say?
Well, not only was it not strong, it talked so much about how all the other people were involved, and then there was a sentence. I mean, it was the thing. It was a bad thing they said she did. But the really bad stuff, somebody else.
Somebody else. And the affidavit even said that. But anyway, going to the bail motion, it's set at an exorbitant price.
I mean, ridiculous. Like, I couldn't afford to get out, and I'm an attorney.
Nobody could. Nobody could. Families can't afford it. We go in there, we argue bail. Now, the bail was reduced, but it's still $2,000.
And that was a young black female.
That was a young black female. And this person has kids. This person has a full-time job. This person is an asset to the community of Delaware County, based upon everything with no criminal record. Yet, it's still $2,000. Conversely, you have a different client. Same amount of charges.
Oh, yeah.
One of the charges was an aggravated assault graded as a felony in the first degree, which is the highest grade that you can receive from a criminal standpoint.
And the affidavit was not that other people did stuff and you were there, like this case. The affidavit was she stabbed somebody.
She stabbed somebody. She stabbed somebody and then drove away. So that's what we were dealing with there.
What happened with bail in that case, Connor?
What happened with bail in that case is the first time I appear to argue bail, we got an ankle bracelet on behalf of that client. Now listen, an ankle bracelet is not the most convenient thing in the world, but hell, you don't have to go to George W. Hill.
That's right.
You're not in prison. You can go home. You can get into your pajamas. You can have a McDonald's burger, and you just got to wear this ankle bracelet. That's much better than George W. Hill.
And what happens the next time you go to court?
The next time I go to court, I get completely unsecured bail, released on own recognizance. What does that mean? What does that mean? These are all fancy terms. It means you just get to go.
Now, what was different about this woman?
She happened to be white. she happened to be white. And unlike the other client, this woman had a lengthy criminal record.
Forgot about that.
A lengthy criminal record spread sporadically throughout this millennial.
It was right.
This isn't
this
someone,
entire millennium from the 2000s.
This wasn't a one and done type of thing. Now, I will obviously advocate on behalf of every client that I have, no matter what. But you have to recognize these differences that race can play.
I'm going to say something that Connor does not know, though. The worst bail case I ever had was a young white male. And the reason his was the worst is because, unbeknownst to me, they were trying to take it to a federal case. So they were trying to keep him in jail, hoping that the feds would pick up the case. $200,000. I was flying. I was on a plane. I had multiple planes. I was flying, I think, out of the country. And so I got stopped somewhere, maybe in Florida or someplace, before I make the flight to the Bahamas, I think I was going to. And Tanu was like, this is still going on. And she was supposed to be driving down to D.C. for a wedding. Lo and behold, $200,000 cash. And guess what? He got out that night. They didn't even they thought they had him in handcuffs and they were ready to drive him to the prison. And his money came through like that. I mean, $200,000 cash. I'm not charging enough, right? No.
Oh, I mean, clearly we got to reconsider.
But, so in that case, this was race was not the reason that he had that high bail. It actually was that the feds were involved. Which leads us to another topic, which is that bail is made up of many, many factors.
Oh, it's made up of so many factors.
So when you're making these arguments, what are some of the things that you argue to the master or the judge, depending on what level it goes to?
Well, we all want to look at accountability. So once we look at that concept of what is accountability, the first thing I go to is whether or not the person has a job.
Yes.
That's one of the first things that I go to.
Because I can go, and I sometimes jokingly say, Your Honor, look, this is my client has a job. How often do I have that? Like, they're working. They can pay. They can. They're responsible. They have ties to the community.
Responsibility.
Right?
That's key.
It is.
If you are employed, no matter what line of work, but if you wake up every single day, you go to a place, and you make a income, you are contributing to the community. You are an asset to the community. That speaks to your character. That's one of the first things that I go to.
Right. And employment, family history. If you have children that live with you, for instance, minor children especially, what's the likelihood that you're going to go running when you have minor children? It's pretty low.
When you are a parent, and unless you have some audacious criminal charge that says you have ever endangered the welfare of your children, you have to watch your kids.
Right.
You have to be a responsible parent and watch your kids. If anything, that's more of a job than going to a 9-to-5 job. Right. You actually have to take care of another human being.
Human beings.
You can't do that when you're in jail. And like we said from the very beginning, bail is just supposed to make you accountable to show up to your next court date. It's not supposed to punish you.
We have so many more things that we can say. However, my mom says our videos are too long. She watches them all, right? But thank you for joining us. Now, here's what we need you to do. 1, comment, like our page, like our YouTube page, or Pinterest, or Facebook, or Instagram, and any way you can get in touch with us, do. Like our page. Give us some ideas on other topics you'd like to hear about so that we can share these with you on Facebook Fridays or on our YouTube channel as we do new videos. And of course, go to www.mychesterlawyer.com and enter your information in the contact page. Why? Because when we send out a newsletter, we send out information, or we send out some kind of new video, you can be on the list to get it. So that's what we'd like for you to do. If you got anything from this today, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you want us to change something or add new information, please contact us on one of those ways. And I urge you to go to www.mychesterlawyer.com and sign up under Contact Us so that we can add you to our page and we can make sure you get more information.
And please comment. Please comment, even if it's very small, even if it's just on social media. Just please comment and just let us know.
I mean, we think our ideas are great, but we love every time someone gives us an idea to do a video on because we want to service you. We don't just want to talk about topics we enjoy. We want to talk about topics that you enjoy. Why? Because hiring a lawyer is expensive. Yes. And sometimes you just need the information without spending all the money. And we don't mind because I mean, look at us. We like looking at ourselves.
We love
Look
it.
at this kind of smile. Yes. So we don't mind doing this if we can service and help you. So for this Facebook Friday, I'm Jackie Jones.
I'm Connor Wigington.
And we will see you next week. Thanks.
Have a safe weekend, everybody.
Great. Enjoy.